Thank you very much indeed for having me today, and I'm delighted to welcome you here. It's amazing this ability to talk to so many entrepreneurs and people who want to become entrepreneurs, because with the AI, with artificial intelligence, many people are realizing that now they have the power to become entrepreneurs, to create extraordinary things, and to strive to live extraordinary lives. To live an extraordinary life, you have to do extraordinary things. And this thing which we call artificial intelligence, this thing which we call Claude AI, has the power, has the ability, has the energy, has the resources to give you the resources you need, the ideas, the tools, the technology you need for you to create extraordinary things. If you want to become wealthy, you will love AI because it gives you it opens the door. There are a few reasons why you will love Claude. It's very powerful, it's very useful, it's extraordinary. It creates refined designs, it's a refined technology. It's a refined assistant, one of the most sophisticated, perhaps the most sophisticated assistant you will have access to in life. We have OpenAI, extraordinary technology. We have several large language models. They're also extraordinary. Grok, DeepSeek, Meta, these are extraordinary technologies, my friend. But here, today, I'm going to concentrate on Claude, because I'm sure you've heard about Claude, right? I have a friend from church called Brother Claude. So this is in my memory, right? And we're going to look into the fundamentals of these things which we call Claude. This is ideal for beginners. Wherever you are in your journey, this was designed for executives, but also for employees, for staff, for people who want to become more productive. A little bit about myself. My name is Nelson. I'm the author of The Hero's Journey. And I believe that every single human being on the planet is on a journey. There is, my beautiful friends, the victim's journey and the hero's journey. In ancient Greece, there was a king called Minos. Minos, he had a palace, and within this palace, he had a minotaur, a monster, which was half human, half bull. And then he used to feed in the lives and the blood of virgins, of young boys and young girls. Every 7 years, they were thrown into the labyrinth. One day, a boy from Athens, he was not born in Athens, he was born in Trozen. He was there with his mother, a lady called Aertra, and she said, "Son, go into the pine forest. There is a rock in the pine forest. You must move the rock." And then he said, "Okay, mother, I will go into the forest." When he saw the rock, he said, "Oh, I think my mom lost the plot here. This is too big. It's bigger than myself. It's bigger than myself. I need to move the rock." He spent days, nights, seconds, minutes, hours, weeks, months, trying to move the rock. One day, he succeeded in moving the rock. And there was a sword, a kingly sword. He took the sword, he ran to his mother and said, "Mother, was my father a warrior?" She said, "No. Your father is the king. There is a change. Was my father a warrior?" She said, "No, your father is the king. He's the king of Athens. Go and meet your father." So Theseus left the village in Trozen, went to Athens. He met his father, and there he realized that there was a problem in Athens. 7 boys, 7 girls over 7 years, they were being thrown into the labyrinth in Crete. So there he travels to Crete. The goal is to go and fight the Minotaur that is in one of my books. So in Crete, he meet a beautiful lady, a princess called Ariadne. Ariadne falls in love with Theseus. Theseus falls in love with Ariadne. It was Ariadne who gave him the thread It was Ariadne who gave him the line and thread which enabled Theseus to get into the labyrinth, find the monster, fight the monster, and get out. Otherwise, without the thread, he was lost. Understand? So the hero in you needs the heroine in you, needs the female energy, because we can make the mistake to think that the word hero corresponds to male. No, it's actually a female word because it comes from ancient Kemet, which people call ancient Egypt. It means light, and light is a female element that goes everywhere. It's not a physical, static, solid thing. It's everywhere. Even in the caves there is light. Even in the depths of the sea there is light. So this is the hero's journey. But we have now in the 21st century the call to adventure. In the hero's journey, the second stage of the hero's journey is called the call to adventure. So artificial intelligence is the call to adventure. It's calling you to learn new skills, transform your life, change your consciousness, change your mindset, and become a new architect, a growth architect, an orchestrator. And if you do that, the chance of you becoming a hero is very high. I have a friend, and my twin brother lives in the United States. He is one of the most remarkable minds. If you think somehow I'm intelligent, I'm capable of writing books, you have not spoken to Clinton. His name is Clinton Skinner. One of the, I think is the brightest mind I've ever met. The guy is a different game. He's a different level. He's a different level. He's a magician of the highest level. And together with Clinton, we wrote a book. It's called The 5 Roles. And is, I believe, one of the most important books of the 21st century. The 5 Roles is so profound. There is a female version. There is a male version. The 5 Roles. It's profound. Let me see if I can find the female version. Here it is. This is the female version. There is a male version, there is a female version. So it's a profound experience. So that's what I do. I'm a writer. I love writing, I love the thinking, and of course, I'm excited by intellectual discussions and the discovery. And that's what artificial intelligence is an extraordinary, this is the age of the magicians. So the princess, the warrior, the lover, the queen, the magician, the prince, the warrior, the lover, the king. But there is the magician. The AI is the domain of the magicians. It transforms you into a magician. And this tool, which we call Claude, is extraordinary. Let's look into Claude and the large language models. What is a large language model? What do you need one? What do you use a large language model for? What do you, let's explore this subject. 2015, a group of researchers and business people, Elon Musk was involved. They came together to create artificial intelligence. The term already existed from the 1940s, 60s, but they decided to take this into a different level. And so there were researchers, computer scientists, investors. So Elon Musk was part of that group. And then was Sam Altman, who was involved with the Y Combinator. It was Dario Modei and Daniela Modei and a gentleman called Brockman. So they these were geeks. These are very smart people and rich. So they started to create a project called OpenAI. So researching in 2018, there was a crisis among the group. And then Elon Musk left. Sam Altman was the CEO. There was a power struggle. He won the power struggle. But in 2020, another group left OpenAI. OpenAI is the company behind ChatGPT. So this was Daria Modei, Daniela Modei, his sister, and a few executives, right? A few executives. So they left. This is Daria Modei. We're going to come back into this. So they created Anthropic. Anthropic, this is Greek word, but we also have Claude. So Claude, Anthropic is the company. Claude is the model they built. There are several large language models. These are big network, computer networks. These, we can't build these things. We ordinary people, poor people. This is things for the billionaires. Yeah, the billionaires, we invest a lot of money, to fund data centers to build these models. They collect extraordinary amounts of data. So we have ChatGPT, which was launched in 2022, if I'm correct. We have Gemini. Gemini was privileged. Gemini was known as Google Bard. We have Grok. Grok is owned by Elon Musk. We have Claude. We have DeepSeek. Right. So Gemini is Google. Grok is Elon Musk. OpenAI is the original company founded by this group that then splits into several groups, several factions. And one of these factions that was dedicated to safety and research was the group that created in 2021, they created Anthropic. So we see the journey. Why is the name Claude? Why is he called Claude? There was a gentleman, a 21st century mathematician, is known as the father of information theory. His name was Claude Shannon. So as a tribute to Claude Shannon, that's why we have the word Claude. But it's a large language model. Yes. Same principles, different philosophy, of course. Completely different philosophy. Detachment from OpenAI and ChatGPT, because OpenAI, it started as a non-profit, but then it went into profit. So this causes a conflict. But also it's the safety. Around March, there was a conflict between the US government and Claude and the management at Claude, because the US government used Claude to kidnap the president of Venezuela, Mr. Nicolas Maduro. They also went recently into Iran, and they killed 180 children. They used Claude to look into the ground and to find the targets. So this didn't, the guys at Claude, they were not pleased with this. So they went to the US government. They said, well, look, we don't want you to use our technology to spy on people, but also to go beyond into warfare and use this for robots that can kill people. The US government, they said, no, we can do whatever we want. You either agree what we're going to do or we cancel the contract. So the guys at Claude, they said, yes, you can cancel the contract. This is against our principles, because they have a constitutional principle within the Claude about safety, about doing good for humanity. And then the guys at OpenAI, they went in and negotiated with the government, they got the contract. So there was a backlash. Millions of users migrated from OpenAI into Claude. So it was founded in 2022. Name is Claude Shannon. This is the 20th century mathematician. And 2023, there are strategic partnerships and funding for Amazon. And around March 2022, they launched Claude. So Claude is one of the large language models. Please understand, we have ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, Claude, Meta AI, and DeepSeek. These are large language models, right? And then Claude is one of them. It belongs to that family. So then you as a business owner, you as a user, as an employee, as a professional, there is a point in your life when you will decide your ideal large language model. It could be DeepSeek, it could be ChatGPT, it could be Grok, it could be Claude, it could be Meta. It's a very important decision because it's like when you're buying a car. You're not going to change the car 3 months later, right? Your family will get used to the car. So your documents, the context, the context, everything will be within that large language model. So it's a very important decision. We're going to explore ChatGPT, but today we're exploring Claude. So it's very important you decide your large language models. So in 2024, Claude Code was launched. And Claude Code was initially for developers. You don't have to be a developer really, but of course you understand, use things like the terminal and the language. Yeah, if you're a developer, you will be comfortable with Claude Code, 2024. And in 2026, January 2026, Claude Cowork was launched. And then within Claude Cowork, you will find features, tools, agents. Claude Design allows you to create stunning designs, right? As we speak now, we are in May, there is a new agent called Claude for small businesses. There is Claude for finance. There is Claude for legal. So what they're doing is they are literally taking over the industries to automate the industry, the tasks. So whether you're running a recruitment business or a cybersecurity business, there is something for you. They released a feature called Mythos. This is to explore cybersecurity. So you think this is an agent, and this agent is able to collect your context, your documents. You can ask questions, but then you can also give it a goal. This is a fundamental difference from Google. So here we have a large language model, right? It's just data that is in there, right? It tries to predict what you're thinking, what you're saying, but it doesn't really take action. It gives information. You ask a question, it gives information. Now, with the agents, we are now in agentic AI. We are now able to give it a goal, right? So, very important. I want to help you to understand this subject. There is, when you look into the large language models, DeepSeek, Meta, Claude AI, Grok, ChatGPT, you are looking into technology, yes. Large language models, yes. Large computer networks, yes. Extraordinary large databases, yes. But you're also looking into an ecosystem. I will share the journey of a civilization, the Kemetic civilization, which people call ancient Egypt. That's when we have the invention of the origins of the English language. There is the language was called Medun Necher, and today we have the word Mother Nature. The word Men was the capital of ancient Egypt, was called Menefer. The word mother is Medu, right? So we have many words in English that can be traced back to ancient Egyptian language, or ancient Kemetic language, which people call hieroglyphics. But the reason why these civilizations, the Kemetic civilization, the Persian civilization, the Hindu civilization in modern day India, the Sumerian civilization, the Japanese, Oriental, Chinese civilization. Now, some people say, well, why you don't mention the African civilization? The Kemetic civilization is in the north of Africa, okay? So the native Indian civilization, these civilizations, they had a language, they had a theology, they had architecture, they had a social system, hierarchy, they had its own form of art, right? They had its own military, it had its own legal system, it has its own mythology. which then is the origin of theology, right? So it has its own, there is, a civilization has to exist, to prosper. It needs a language, it needs a theology, it needs a mythology, it needs architecture, it needs a legal system, a form of medicine. You know, the Caesarean we use today, the word Caesarean, comes from ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt. Is Julius Caesar with Cleopatra, when she got pregnant, they performed the Caesarean. That's why we have the word Caesarean today, right? So very advanced civilizations, but they are ecosystems. If you go into India, you will find a mythology, a language, Sanskrit. You will find Krishna mythology. You'll find the Bhagavad Gita literature. You'll find architecture, the Taj Mahal. You will find medicine. This is an ecosystem. If you go to China, you will find Confucius. You'll find the Great Wall. You'll find the Chinese language. This is an ecosystem, right? So the same, if you go into a large language model today, you will find an ecosystem. That's what they're building. They're building, first it starts as a large language model here, is isolated, but then the company behind that large language model, it starts to build tools. So it's an ecosystem. What they want you to find everything you need in that, within that ecosystem. So if you go to ancient Kemet or ancient Egyptian civilization, ideally you'll find everything you need. Theology, mythology, mathematical, architecture. If you go to Indian civilization, you'll find the medicine, right? You'll find architecture, you'll find creative writing. If you go to China, you'll find Confucius, Sun Tzu. The same thing is being happening with artificial intelligence. That's what's happening. So think of a large language model. Think of Claude as a civilization. Think of ChatGPT as a civilization. Think of Gemini as a civilization. You will go, you can spend years and years exploring that civilization, using the tools, the frameworks of that civilization. Okay? So there is a language, there is architecture, there is a terminology is coming. So skills, MCPs, connectors, right? Cloud design. So this is the language of that specific ecosystem. And then as you explore and more plugins, as you explore more and more, you will find. So this will help you to understand, because you're getting into a whole new ecosystem, a new language. And then it can take years until you get the full picture. What it is that this is an ecosystem. If you go to Amazon, the native Indian civilizations, right, from the United States all the way to, it goes to Mexico, it goes to Brazil, all the way to Colombia, one civilization, the Incas, they had their own language, their own architecture, right? The Mayan civilization. The same with Claude AI, the same with ChatGPT. Now, they are competing with each other to become the supreme civilization in the world of technology. So today we're exploring Claude AI. Hope this will help you to understand, right? Any questions? Is everything clear? Okay. Feel free to stop me if you have any question. So now let's move and look into the three types of users, the three types of psychology and mindset that you need to understand this technology. Because I was talking to a friend who's studying a PhD in computer science, and then a lawyer joined us, a solicitor, and then we were talking. I said he loves AI because he's from. He said I'm from Pakistan origin, and the idea of being a man, of talking, and the challenges, we don't have these conversations. But now I can find in AI a voice. I can find an advisor. And we kept talking, and then I mentioned the word agentic AI. He said, "What is agentic AI?" Right? So these three users will help you to understand the different levels of use, the different psychology associated to artificial intelligence. So we have looked into the origins of Claude, the different the journey of Claude, the origins, the name of Claude. We'll look into the large language models, the civilizations, the ecosystems. We come to the conclusion that this is an ecosystem. And I hope you take notes, you are understanding where you are now. It's starting to make sense that you're not just using AI, you are entering an ecosystem that ideally has everything. No, you have to pay to access the ecosystem, right? Whether you are a graphic designer, a marketing, an executive, a software developer, a musician, a painter, you will find within that ecosystem tools, agents, which you can use to transform your experience. So there are 3 types of AI users. So this is a very important subject because you have to decide who you are. We have, I went into, I delivered a workshop, and then there was a lady, she just brought a laptop, like many users do, and then I started to explore the subject. It came into a point I was exploring Gen AI, then I touched on the subject of vibe coding, and then I introduced her to vibe coding. We created an app, and then she, 2 or 3 weeks later, she contacted me. She said, I need to meet you. I want to meet you. Can I meet you? I said, okay, no problem. Then I started to ask, why do you want to meet me? What's the meeting? And she said, well, I've created my app. I want someone to launch the app on the App Store. Wow. In 2-3 weeks, from someone who didn't understand this technology, now you're launching an app on App Store. I didn't say this, but I think it's too early, right? Why it's happening? There are 3 types of AI users. You must decide who you are. What role are you playing? Me and my beautiful brother Clinton, we asked this question in our very influential book, The 5 Roles. So remarkable. This is the man who designed, this is Clinton who designed. Their brother is a different game. He's drinking something different to an ordinary humans. Extraordinary man, what a magician. So 3 types of users. Understanding the 3 distinct personas in AI engagement: the skeptic, the casual, and the orchestrator. Who are you? There was a security guard who approached me, and then he said he wanted to change career. I said, okay, I'll train you AI. How much is it? Give him the price. He said, I don't have time. I don't think I will do it. I don't have time. So he's skeptic. He doesn't see the power of this. He's skeptic. I approached a business owner a while ago. I want to sell you automation for your restaurant. AI will go bust. The bubble, this is a bubble, will go bust. I've heard even uni students saying this, right? These are the skeptics. They don't believe on the depth of this thing. They don't believe on the depth of this thing. So are you skeptical about AI here and there? You're not really sure what you're doing. You're not persuaded. And then we have the casual user. The casual user uses ChatGPT here and then. It's just ChatGPT. Doesn't really use it to just ask questions. What's the weather like? How do I do this? It just uses ChatGPT as a Google. This as a search engine. This is the skeptic, right? Who then becomes a casual. Is not committed. And then we have the power user, who's the orchestrator. The orchestrator is the creator, who creates applications, who creates presentations, who creates documents, who creates solutions for businesses. This is the orchestrator. Orchestrates a new reality. The orchestrator is a psychologist who observes a specific domain, field, and then he or she understands that I have the power to change that reality using AI. I can create a tool, not just a video to entertain myself or a picture, but then I can also create a tool. This is the orchestrator. And then this tool will be used by thousands and thousands and potentially millions of people. Is an orchestrator. So each mindset influences how individuals interact with AI tools, shaping their productivity and innovation, their potential, and it does it in unique ways. By recognizing the types of users, you can tailor your approach to enhance the adoption and effectiveness of AI. So you decide who you are, whether you want to remain a skeptic, they have no future in this world because this is going so fast, whether you want to become casual, it's a dangerous place to be, or whether you want to become an orchestrator. Yesterday, I went for a 5K run. There was this elegant, beautiful young lady. She was at university, and then she said, AI is taking my job because she's graduating in finance. I said, learn Claude. Yeah, because she's still on a skeptical, casual. I said, no, go to Claude, become an orchestrator. So you can protect your future. You can protect your income. Become an orchestrator. So you watching this, you have to decide who you are, who you want to be. Take a 10 minutes or 5 minutes break and decide. Remember, the orchestrators will be the money makers, will be the successful professionals. The casuals and the skeptics, they have no future in the AI world because Claude, for example, is automating manual tasks. So if you are a casual or a skeptic, you will lose your job. Don't wait for this to happen. Become an orchestrator. We can show you how to become an orchestrator. If you're interested, you can go into our website and there you can find the tools that you need. But become an orchestrator. 85% of the people in the world, they'll remain on level 1. 85%. So many never advance beyond the basic AI interactions of asking questions. So we need to look into the history of these things. 2020s, 2023, 2022, 23, we get ChatGPT. This is the birth of the Gen AI, what we call Gen AI. You have the ability to generate something, a picture, an image, audio, text. This is Gen AI. So this is 2020s, early 2020s. We are now gone past mid-20s, we're 2026, and people are still stuck using the Gen AI. We are in agentic AI. So you have to go beyond the Gen AI, right? You have to go beyond just creating a picture. So let's look into the ecosystem, which you call Claude AI. There are 4 elements. There will be more, of course. There will be much more because the level of production, the creative aspect within Claude is breathtaking. So we have Claude AI. This is your large language model. Is your thinking partner. Enhances your flow, your workflows and productivity. We have Claude Code. So when you think Claude, the ecosystem, the civilization, there is the chat, like ChatGPT or Grok or Gemini, the chat interface you can access through the browser, but also through the desktop. We're going to look into the desktop shortly. We have the Claude Code. Claude Code, this is more if you are comfortable with coding, but you don't really need it because you don't need to learn how to code because you can use natural language, right? And then you have the co-work. Co-work is more, so they first created April 2024. They released Claude Code, very powerful, very, very powerful. Then they realized we are living, I don't know if they realized it, they already had the plan, I don't know. They realized that this is the general user, everybody, is free to access. This you have to pay. You can build anything with Claude Code, applications, websites, apps, anything. It's very powerful. And then you have the co-work. Co-work is automation, is more enterprise, is more admin, is to automate admin tasks, is more for teams, is more for non-developers, non-techie people. It's the same philosophy, the same tool, but you don't, you see, people who understand coding, developers, they speak a certain language, Python, right? MCPs, APIs. With this here, you don't need to speak with APIs and MCPs, right? It's just, it's natural language. It's very friendly for everybody. So then you have Claude in Chrome, so you can access this in Chrome. So let's look into, you can access this in Chrome. This, you need to be a subscriber to be able to pay for this. You access this on either the terminal or the browser, the desktop. This is also the desktop, and this is the browser, right? So let's look into, let me access the, so this is the desktop. So you will have to download this on the desktop. You can also download this on your mobile. So this, remember when I mentioned about the civilization, about the ecosystem? Yeah. So when you come into the interface, right, you have 3 levels. You have a chat in here, you have co-work, and you have code. So if you are, so Claude code is now found inside the desktop. But then you will need to use either the terminal or VS Code in order to use Claude code, right? So this is VS Code. I have mine installed. You can use the terminal if you want to, right? This is called Visual Studio. I strongly recommend if you want to use this to get a new Mac or a new computer, and I just like Macs. So this is co-work. This you can, this connects you to different tools, and this is the code here, Claude code. And if you look into this, you will find the 3 levels: the chat, the co-work, and the code. And then it kind of brings us back into the 3 levels. We have the skeptic, the casual, and the orchestrator. Now, you can now orchestrate. The orchestrator, he or she spends most of his time on co-work on Claude code. The chat system is still very powerful. It's very, very powerful. But when you want to move into the orchestrator level, this is co-work and code. To move into the orchestrator level is co-work and code, right? And then as you can see, he remembers my name, he has the same interface, and he asks you, what do you want to do? You want to check something on my Gmail account, on my calendar, on my drive. I want to learn, I want to write. It's very good for writing. Yeah, ChatGPT is very good. ChatGPT. Claude AI is very good for writing. Really, really good. ChatGPT is very good at giving you the summary, the short, fast. But Claude is in-depth writing. It's very good. Yeah, it's very good. So you have the same interface in here. We have projects. We have artifacts here, right? And then we have customized, we have skills, we have connectors of plugins. So it gets even, there is a lot of depth into this. Yeah, the depth of this is very profound. Here you have settings, and then you can use to connect. There are all sorts of things in here, right? Yeah, you have connectors in here. Yeah, which you connect to different tools and applications. And then this is agentic AI. So this co-work is an agent. So with the chat system, we remain on the Gen AI stage, the basic level. But with co-work and Claude code, we are moving into agentic, more orchestrator level. So, I mean, these are things I used 8 months ago. So he has memory, he keeps things, he saves things. Now, to access the desktop, you will you'll be a paid user. You'll need to pay. Okay. So let's go back into our presentation. So as you can see, the psychology of each user, whether he wants to play with Claude Code, if you are a developer, or if you're interested in building a complex application, you can do it with Claude Code. I've seen amazing things built with Claude Code. Co-work, also you can build presentations, you can, it's more, you can automate things. And then, if you go into the browser, so let's go into the browser. No, let me go here. Yeah. If I go into here, okay, so if I go Claude, if I go Claude AI into this is and here there is something called design, right? You can code, you can customize, you got projects. In here you have design. And this is where I have these beautiful designs. I mean, it's like, my God, it's unbelievable, beautiful. It's marvelous. So I'm not a designer and I was able to design this. And the same principles we use with Gen AI, now they're applied into the co-work. So although we have evolved from Gen AI to agentic AI, the principles, the mastery, the knowledge of prompt engineering, it doesn't go away. These are essential skills. One of the most important skills you will need in this new age is prompt engineering. So, I mean, my goodness, look at this. This is a presentation I created. I knew what I wanted. Context is very important. Context is more important than anything else now in artificial intelligence. The model has to know what you want to achieve. Give it a goal. This is context. It's profound. This is marvelous. This is marvelous. This is marvelous. And then you can share this directly with Canva. You can create a presentation and tell it and ask Claude to, because Anthropic, they have an agreement with Canva, and you can open this presentation directly in Canva, and then you can edit on Canva. But also you can edit the presentation within the design. I mean, I'm talking about extraordinary designs that are hidden inside your mind. They can now manifest themselves. It's amazing. You have the ability to create extraordinary things as a creator. You are evolving from a consumer to a creator. This is marvelous. This is something else. Here, you can edit the design. Yeah. You can share the design as a PowerPoint, right? As a PDF. As a HTML, you can send this to Claude Code to even carry on working and building an app related to this. Yeah, it's amazing. It's extraordinary. So in ancient civilizations, the power, the knowledge was reserved for the priests. In the time of King James, when the Bible was rewritten or translated into English, you were not allowed to read the Bible. But the priests, they were allowed because they were the writers, right? They were the magicians, the guardians of ancient knowledge. And this culture, then it manifested itself again with the software developers. They were the magician and the priests of the 20th century and 21st. But now, every single human being can become a modern day priest with access to powerful knowledge and programming knowledge. It's extraordinary, my friends. This is extraordinary. So these are some of the designs I have. They are marvelous, marvelous designs. This is the refined knowledge being applied, right? I have a presentation in here about vibe coding, another culture being introduced to us. This is for beginners. This is marvelous. In the past, you'll have to pay a designer. It would take days and days to create this. Now, you have the power in your hands, in your mind. Whatever's in your mind now can manifest itself. So these are the 4 levels, the 4 products of Claude. And there are more. Because as you get into Claude, every single week, there is a new feature, a new update. Yeah. So it's profound. It's marvelous. So we're going to have 2 paths you can follow. One leads to mediocrity, another one leads to excellence. You decide which one you want to follow, right? So you can use Claude as a Google. You go to Claude Chat to search for something, right? You go to Claude Chat in here. Where am I? Yeah. This is the design. Yeah. You can go to Claude Chat. Oh, yeah. You can go into the desktop in here. And you can do what casual users do, which is just to chat with the system. What's the weather like tomorrow in Nicaragua? All right. Who was the first this and that? This is the chat level. Okay, but we can now be more ambitious, more productive, more productive. And then you can say, no, I want something even more sophisticated for myself and my family and my friends. So you can use as a Google, or you can use Claude as an engine, as a partner, as an assistant. Yeah. So Claude first becomes so that's when you're going to get results. Give it a goal, not just a question, give it a goal, something to execute. This is the change. And then of course I've explored this subject. Context is the leverage. Context, knowing what you want, being clarity in the language is the new leverage. So context is more important than anything else. Very clear prompts. There is a tool called Prompt Genius. You can access it on Chrome, and then it refines your prompts. So clear prompts, context is more important than anything else now. The technical barrier, they are now low. What you need more is context. Understand that you're talking to an agent that is very intelligent. And some of these agents were designed to please you, like in ChatGPT. If you're not careful, there are people committing suicide and destroying their mental health because it tells them everything they want to hear, right? The psychopath, it tells you everything. He's the yes man. But you have to have the ability and awareness to challenge the model, to ask questions, to ask for revision, for refinement. Right? AI is trained to agree. So you have to challenge so you can find the blind spots. Right? And strengthen your interactions, prompting a richer dialogue. This is a dialogue, the dialogue with the self, represented as AI, but is a sophisticated self, is an intelligent self, is a higher self, very well educated, very well informed self. Because AI then becomes a fragment of you, because you have shared your context, right? You have shared your knowledge, your desires, your goals. So it's a fragment of who you are. So you have to be able to have a dialogue with no, I don't agree with this. I'm not comfortable with this. I want even something better. It's a dialogue. It's not a surrender. So we have looked into Gen AI to agentic AI. 2022, this is the Gen AI. When you go into a large language model to ask for something, to enter a prompt, this is to generate text, is to generate an image, generate an audio. This is Gen AI. But now we have evolved. We are now in the age of agentic AI. Agentic AI, you give it a goal. It goes and performs the function. Open my email address, read this email, send a reply. Tell me when my meeting is, when I'm late or 5 minutes. Call me. Execute. So now you are the orchestrator, not the doer. Because with Gen AI, you are the doer. You're doing the task. You're performing the task. With agentic AI, you are the orchestrator. The agentic comes from Latin gente, which means people, agentic, beings, right? So, from the Gen AI is you are the doer, the thinker and the doer. And the agentic AI, you are the orchestrator. You give the context to the agent, and agent will think, plan, and do it. Yeah, and then refine it and revise it. It's very intelligent. So this is the evolution. You have to be ambitious to be aware of this evolution in the world of artificial intelligence. Any questions? I'm going too fast though. Everything good? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So it's a transition from a goal-orientated, right? So give it a goal. It's not just a desire. I give you a goal and you perform the goal. You perform the function. You execute. And what makes it agentic is because he has the ability to complete a task. That's it. You can go into ChatGPT, or no, Claude is starting to do that, by the way. You can go into ChatGPT and say, well, book me a flight to Miami. He won't be able to do it. He's not connected to he doesn't have any MCPs. He's not connected to anything, to your bank account, to your email, to your Gmail. It's not connected, so he won't be able to buy the ticket. But if you go into agentic AI and say, buy me this ticket, you can use OpenClaw, you can use Cowork, you can use Minus, you can use Hermes. These are agents, Perplexity Computer, right? So they respond to a goal, not just to a request. Very different interactions. This is what makes it agentic, is interdependent. While the Gen AI level, the model, is dependent on you. But the agentic AI is interdependent. It interacts with you. It can work while you sleep. This is the evolution from Gen to agentic. Yeah. So the lawyer, the solicitor, he didn't know what agentic is. So I will send this video to him. But this is the evolution which millions and millions and perhaps billions of people, they are not aware of this evolution. You are now aware. So if you have a business, you have meetings, phone calls, you have access to CRMs, So the agentic will also prepare the meetings. It will prepare the CRMs, it will connect to the CRM. It will also do what is called pipeline hygiene. So if you are a sales guy, you need to go back and prepare all the documentation. It used to be in hand and computer. Now you can give all the context to the agent, and the agent will perform. Will prepare the meeting. It will activate the CRM. Will also do what we call pipeline hygiene, which is to maintain the sales opportunities and tasks management. So the CRM in follow-ups unlocks activities automatically. So you don't have to. Did you follow up to the client? The sale is in the follow-up. So the meeting, it prepares the meetings, the briefs, analyzing the meetings. That's what I do. I just, I analyze the company, a prospect with Claude, and then I get Claude to create the presentation. I get Claude to create the landing page. Everything is done on Claude. It's extraordinary. So whether you're working in finance, in the legal world, there are contract triage, for example. It will review legal documents for compliance and clarity. It will also look into obligation tracker. It will also, at the end of the month, if you have a business, it's a nightmare. It's a time of stress. Just give it to Claude. Give it all the context, what you did last month, and then it will get to work. So how do you get started with this? Well, the first step into this technology is awareness, is education, is by watching workshops like this to be aware of the big picture, right? There is the small detail when we go into the desktop, but this is the most important is the big picture. You are looking into an ecosystem. That's the first step. And then when you download or when you join Claude, for example, the first step is to connect all the applications. Go into here, into settings, is the first step. Go into settings, and then in here, you'll be able to connect, connectors, so now they're called customized. They even fooled me, right? You should be able to connect many applications in here. Monday.com, CRMs, HubSpot, many, right? Is the first task I advise you to do is to connect. So get connected. Now, this is powerful if you're looking for a job, if you're looking to grow the business, if you're looking to transform your finances. This is the technology. Connect, get connected. We need to think about guardrails. The good news that Claude doesn't collect your data doesn't use your data to educate the model. But you can also always have the safety guardrails. You can tell Claude to ask for permissions before it does anything, right? So within the settings, you have control. It gives you control of what's happening within your computer, what it's doing, and when and why. You can always become there is always this, the human being becomes the ultimate decision maker, right? You give it the context, but you have the ability. This is one of the challenges we had with OpenClaw. OpenClaw just goes and does whatever it wants to do. And then it spends your money if you're not careful. But Claude will ask you for your permissions. This is the guardrails, the safety use. So as a very interesting point, this is your cheat sheet, is for you as a reference. Who am I? Who is this for? What does it look like? What does, when we talk about perfection, for me, what does it look like? Right? And ask questions about the output. I'm not satisfied. Be bold and brave to say, I'm not happy with this result. But know who you are. Know thyself. Give it the context. So yes, thank you very much indeed for your time and your kindness. This is me, the magician, the warrior, and the lover. I am delighted. I'm grateful. I hope you found what you need in here. You found the knowledge that you need, the inspiration. It gives you a good understanding what you're doing with the large language models. You're selecting an ecosystem. I hope this has inspired you to get involved, because it's to demystify this. For you to become an AI literate is that you need to free yourself from the fear and the anxiety and the self-doubt and the skepticism. It can be intimidating first, but once you get involved into it, you get used to it. It becomes one of your best friends. So thank you very much indeed for your time and your kindness. I hope I've succeeded in inspiring you by introducing you to this ecosystem which you call Claude. Thank you for your time, and I will gladly take your questions. We're going to start with a gentleman sitting in their place. Yep. I don't have microphones in here, but yes. Introduce yourself, what you do, and what brings you here.